Okay, if it's okay with everybody, we are going to make a start. Just got one technical problem I want to sort out. Give me 30 seconds. Okay, here we are. So firstly, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from myself. I'm honored to be hosting again for Coinllectibles. My name is Simple Dylan, and guest speakers and co-hosts, we have Toby, the CEO of Coinlectibles, Julian, which is the Collego and Coinlectibles advisor, and Gerard, the technical advisor. This is a Ask Me Anything session. So anything goes. So if you'd like to ask a question, please request to speak, and I will be facilitating all the speakers in turn. If you prefer to raise a question via text, then please DM myself via the Twitter handle at simpledylan_NFT, and I will facilitate that for you. So just a few housekeeping points. We'll keep a strict order, and if you have a specific question regarding what you've just heard, then please raise your hand so I can activate your microphone. For those of you unfamiliar with Twitter Spaces, you can request to speak by pushing the microphone button found in the bottom left-hand corner. The session is recorded and subtitles are available in English. This is the second Twitter Space AMA following the successful launch of the Collego token last Saturday. So we'll just get going, and just a quick overview of who are Coinlectibles. So who are they? So they're a long-standing company with offices in Singapore and Hong Kong. They are publicly listed in the United States on the OTC. They have a huge potential to uplist onto the NASDAQ, and they are bridging conventional art and the metaverse with their outstanding, never seen before, fusion NFTs and a utility token to facilitate that. And also, artists, stay tuned. We've got something very special for you as a community, so do stay tuned all the way through to the end. So without further ado, I'm going to welcome Toby, Julian, Gerard to the floor. Good evening to you all.
Hi, Dylan. Thanks for that.
Hi, Dylan. Thank you very much for that. And hello to everyone. I hope you're having a wonderful day. I definitely am. I think we're going to cover quite a bit of ground today. And, let's try and make this as meaningful as possible. Thank you, Dylan.
Hi, Dylan, and hi, everyone. We're all excited to be here today, and hope you guys are as excited as us.
Okay, so we're going to start with a basic subject, and that is fusion NFTs. What are they, and how did the concept first come about, Toby?
Yeah, thanks for that, Dylan, and it's a great pleasure to speak to everybody. I mean, this I could talk about for a long time. This has been a wonderful period as we brought the fusion NFT and Coinlectibles, and as we've expanded the partnerships that we've enjoyed and continue to enjoy building over this year. I mean, when we first took a step back and looked at this opportunity, the market, obviously the NFTs were fairly nascent, and they've exploded since then. But really, we looked at it in the context of what the internet was going to be, the Web 3.0, which has now morphed a little bit more into the metaverse type of discussion. We looked at the size of the art and collectibles market, which was enormous, and some of the challenges that were in that. And then we looked at the technology and the areas of expertise that we had to really create an NFT, which we've called the Fusion NFT. Fusion because it bridges the digital and the physical mediums in a what we wanted to bring to market as the gold standard NFT. And what we've essentially done is, in the Fusion NFT, brought a whole lot of important legal documentation together that addresses transparency and the integrity of the NFT against a physical piece of art, and we have one Fusion NFT to one physical piece of art. And then we overlaid that with some really cool technology that would allow the owner and the user of that NFT to enjoy that piece of art in terms of the way it's being viewed, as well as the security aspects of transparency and ownership, which is fundamental to the Fusion NFT.
Okay, thank you for that recap, Toby. It's certainly something extremely exciting. I'm very, very excited to see what you as a company are about to do. And for me, this is a complete game changer in NFTs, and one I think many artists should really start to research, because it protects their physical asset as well as what is produced digitally. And I'm very proud of what you as a company have achieved.
No, thank you for that. I mean, one of the things we've really enjoyed as a team over this year is working with an increasingly interesting group of artists in different geographies, really across the world, and in different types of art. And the recurring theme that you see, there's lots of reasons why people are interested in the NFT, but a recurring theme is that ability to move their art into the forward-looking perspective in the digital space, while retaining the integrity of what they're doing, and being able to do that in a way that expands into existing and new communities that want to enjoy their art. So we've really enjoyed working with a range of artists, some of which have a lot of knowledge around NFT and digital, and some of which have less.
Thank you, Toby. We'll have a question. Thank you for that, Toby. We'll move on to Julian now. So, Julian, there were a few teething issues last Saturday with the launch. What happened? And I know you have an apology for the community.
Thanks, Dylan. Yeah, it's always not good to start with an apology, but I'm afraid that's what we have to do. Look, I want to apologize really for three things that happened, just before the launch, right? First of all was the fact that, everyone really had to wait for a couple of hours before we actually decided to postpone the launch itself. And I believe that there were quite a number of people that would actually it was actually wee hours of the morning for them, and I really apologize for keeping them up. We wish we could have done it better, but there were some technical issues that we were facing, which I'll explain a bit later. The second thing I want to apologize for was for the fact that there was lack of information during the wait of those 2 hours. Again, I would have liked to be on top of what was happening and would be able to continuously provide information to the community so that they realize what's going on, and that would really help people understand what was happening. And in fact, I think as much as we would like to, and there were a lot of considerations, I think, funnily enough, when we discovered what the problem was, one of our very keen community members had actually already identified the problem before we actually discovered it ourselves. So I think, again, if we could try and use a community a bit better in future, that would also help. The third thing, I would like to apologize for, was basically for the people who actually missed the launch. And the reason why this happened was that when we postponed the launch, we actually specified a specific time to do the launch. But however, we were unable to do so because the launch just happened beyond our control. And let me explain what the issue was, right? So the primary issue that prevented us to do the launch was because we had set a maximum transaction limit. And I think everyone that has been listening to our AMA sessions would realize that the reason why we set this limit was because we wanted to allow as many people as possible to participate in these tokens. And that's why we set a limit of 1 BNB per wallet. This was to ensure that we didn't have anyone coming in buying up a huge portion of the tokens that would later threaten the pricing and the health of the tokens at a later stage, right? And we wanted to have as many people participate in our growth, our development, and in the increase in value of our tokens. And that was the reason why we set the maximum transaction limit. However, because this limit was set, we were unable to move the tokens into the liquidity pool. Right. And that was actually what the real problem was. I can tell everyone what it is now because I know it myself now. And what we should have done was to just momentarily lift the limit, allow the tokens to move into the liquidity pool before we reset the limit. So that's something we missed, unfortunately. And again, I apologize. We will definitely do better. Hopefully, if we ever issue another token. But this was the main issue. And the reason why we couldn't prevent the launch from happening at the time that we wanted to was, again, because the moment we lifted the limit and we did the transfer of the tokens into the liquidity pool, the token launched automatically without us having to do anything else. So that was actually what happened. And hopefully that didn't cause too much problems for most of our investors. And having said that, even for the investors who actually missed the launch by an hour, if they did come in back then, I think it was somewhere around 1.7 times of the launch price. Based on today's price, they would still be sitting on a very, very good profit. So I hope everyone would forgive us and be patient with us as we try and figure ourselves out. Thank you. Thanks, Dylan.
Thank you, Julian, for that. Just for everybody's benefit, it is, if you do want to speak or have any questions specifically related to that question that Julian has just mentioned, then do please raise your hand and we will get you in the queue for the question and answer session. This question and answer session, or this AMA, has been structured in a way that we have a series of questions that we are going to be asking Julian and Toby and Gerard. And if there's anything that that hasn't been answered, then by all means do jump in with any questions. This is also applicable if you're not able to get to your phone via voice and you want to send a message. Please DM myself, Simply Dylan, with your questions, and I'll put you in the queue. Second question then for you, Julian, is can you share your thoughts on how prices performed for the past first 2 days, and any thoughts on the Collego price at its current level?
Right. Look, thank you, Dylan, for that question. Look, I actually think our price chart looks fantastic. I think it looks incredibly healthy. At the high point, I think it went as high as 0.9 cents. We would perhaps have liked that it didn't go so far before it went into a correction. Having said that, it's still very, very healthy. I think we've corrected down at our lowest point at 0.55 or 56. It's now recovered back to 0.63. But having said that, look, I really believe in our tokens. I really believe in the business that we're in. I really believe in the business that Coinllectibles is in. And I think the sky's the limit here. We're still really, really early days. And I think that if anyone would come in now together with us, even at the current levels, they would still be able to enjoy the journey with us. And I hope it will be a very exciting journey, fun journey, and a very rewarding journey. Thanks, Dylan.
Thank you very much. Okay, so how will the Collego token, how will the Collego holders benefit from the growth in Coinlectibles and vice versa?
Well, interestingly, I think Collego and Coinlectibles, are really symbiotic, right? If you think about it, Coinlectibles, even though they've actually been in the business for quite a number of months now, and they've done very, very well. That's the reason why we've chosen them as a partner. Most people wouldn't know, but I've actually checked, all of the transactions of Fusion NFTs, which is all public on the blockchain. Just in the last 1 week, the turnover for Fusion NFTs was around about $4.8 million US, right? So that's just in 1 week, and I think that's fantastic. Having said that, it is also early days for Coinlectibles. They have a limited number of pieces that are out there in the market right now. I just cannot imagine by the time they have hundreds of pieces out there that are being traded on a daily basis, what kind of trading volume that would be. But as you would imagine, we are hoping that through our partnership with Coinlectibles, that we will try to encourage more and more people to actually use Collego tokens to trade or to buy Fusion NFTs. And if the trading volumes collectibles were to go up to, hopefully in the tens of millions or in the hundreds of millions per week, then you would imagine the demand for Collego tokens would be so high, it would be so strong, it would just very naturally lead to a much higher value and much higher prices for the Collego tokens. And because Collego tokens are of higher value, it would then mean that our Collego community would be richer. They would have a lot of resources and a lot of wealth with them, which then allows them to participate more in the Fusion NFTs, and that would in turn result in more sales and perhaps even higher prices for the Fusion NFTs. And I think this is really very symbiotic. It's a very virtuous cycle, and it will be beneficial to everyone within the community. And that's exactly what we want to try to do. This ecosystem, I think, is it's something that's really very, very exciting, at least from my perspective. Thanks, Dylan.
No, I couldn't agree more. Toby, I'm sure you agree as well.
No, absolutely. Those were great comments by Julian. I mean, from Coinllectibles' perspective, we're in a really exciting space, and we're growing very quickly. And our intent is to bring an increasingly diversified and interesting range of art and collectibles to the marketplace with our Fusion NFT. And clearly, an important aspect of that is the community building, and to be able to do that in a fun way, to work with an innovative partner like Collego in a growing space, with its own ecosystem, an ecosystem that has overlap with what we're doing. I believe it's the only token out there that's focused just on art and collectibles. That's all super interesting to us, and that's what we're about, is really developing the market, and the way that people engage and can engage with the art and collectibles market. And clearly having a partner in Collego that's growing this well. I noted Julian's comments, but frankly, from my perspective, it was really good. A lot of people got involved very quickly, and it was very it was exciting to see.
Thank you, Toby. So what I'm going to do now is I've just opened the floor quickly. I've had a few direct messages come through to myself. Again, if anyone does want to speak, please put your hand up. Even if English is not your first language, we have the time. There's no rush. Do come forward. So from Edward Photo, he's from our Telegram group. He has a few questions from a few of the members over on Telegram. So the first one is, they would like to know more exactly the relationship between Coinllectibles and Collego, and why they say they wouldn't be. Sorry, let me reread this. Hold on. And why they avoid saying it would be their token, their idea.
Toby, you want me to take this?
Sure. That's fine. Yeah, go ahead. I mean, I think that goes to the essence of we are the utility provider to the token. But crack on, Julian.
Yeah. So again, I want to emphasize one thing, which I think many people may not know. As Dylan introduced right at the very beginning, Coinllectibles is a listed company on the OTC markets in the US, right? And I think everyone here is well aware, of the difficulties, trying to deal with the regulators when you are in the space with respect to crypto, and we think that it would be best if Collectibles doesn't actually get involved in any token issuance, and that's the reason why it would make sense for Collego to actually issue the tokens, and then we would then look for someone like Coinlectibles to become the utility provider. So I think that's the primary reason. To be honest, it is a great opportunity for Collego. If Coinlectibles could issue their own tokens, they wouldn't be talking to us, and we wouldn't be in this wonderful opportunity that we have right now. So I think I look at it positively. It's a blessing in disguise for us. And in this ecosystem, I think we will both mutually benefit from this relationship. Thank you, Dylan.
Okay, thank you for answering that. Thank you also, Toby, for allowing Julian to answer that. So just going on from Edward's photos question, he says, will there always be a partnership between the two entities?
Well, from my perspective, I really, really like Toby and fully respect what he's doing. I mean, he's an amazing person to work with. So I don't see any reason why our relationship would suddenly end. Unless Toby has a different view, please let me know.
No, it's been a great journey, and we're only getting going, frankly. I think what we really wanted to get right on the Coinlectibles side of things is having that best NFT in the marketplace. Really own that ground. I mean, we've been communicating quite well, I think, with what we do there. We put as much up as we can in terms of trying to be transparent on everything around the pieces that are on our site, and we think that's interesting. We're trying to get it right with the artist community that we're building with, and we're trying to get it right with the communities that we're building. And I see this relationship with Collego being very long term, but I also don't see why we won't be working with other innovative partners as well. I think our model is really well suited to doing what we do well, and part of that is partnering with great partners, and certainly Collego is one of those partners, and one we expect to be working with for a long time.
I mean, look, just to give everyone a sense of the kind of relationship that we have, right? And the kind of synergy that we have. Toby and I actually attend a meeting every week, to go through, what Coinlectibles is doing, what Collego is doing, and how we can work together. And in this meeting, there are actually 20 senior managers and executives in this meeting, right? So it's not as if it's 2% in their backyard trying to put this together, right? We actually have a weekly meeting of 20 people, 20 senior managers, just trying to make sure that everything is right and everything is done properly. And that is the kind of a very institutionalized approach that we have. So I just want to reassure everyone that this relationship is actually rock solid. Thank you.
Thank you, Julian. Thank you, Toby. So just going on from that, so Edward actually had 3 questions from the community, which I'm going to cover. So the final questions, it's a 2-part question of question 3. It says, who is the team that deals with Collego? Is it the developer to the contract and other developer to the contract and other possibility, or are they anonymous? So who is the team that deals with Collego?
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that's the team within Coinlectibles.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Just to clarify the question, you're asking who is the team that is actually writing the codes and making the tokens possible, right, Dylan?
Yes, I believe so. But I'll tell you what we're going to do. I'm going to skip that question. I'm just going to get Eduardo to rephrase that, and then we'll come back to it. Okay?
Okay. Sure.
All right. That will be the most logical thing to do at this point. Next, we move on to Lexus. Okay. Could you ask them this question? Why would someone buy an NFT with Collego if you also can buy with BNB, so with Binance, or with US dollar Tether? What's the win to buy with Collego? And that's from Ray.
Right. Okay. So this is a very, very good question. And it actually has an impact on, for example, why we think that Collego token has got a lot of value, right? But let me just answer this question in as simple a manner as possible. Look, first of all, in reality, I think at the end of the day, when these fusion NFTs are pushed out, I believe that you could actually use 4 methods of payment. At least initially, I think the 4 methods of payment are USDT, BNB, Collego tokens, and then the last one is with a credit card, right? So I think that's the initial intention as far as payments are concerned, right? So coming back to the question as to why anyone would actually use Collego tokens instead of the other three payment methods. Well, first of all, because of our relationship with Coinllectibles, we will always incentivize someone to use Collego tokens instead of any other forms or mode of payments, right? And by doing this, or rather, the way we do this would be one, which is what we've done with the Collego exclusive series, which is we actually pack, the value of the Collego token at a rich premium, enabling the purchaser to actually buy the piece at a lower price than what he would have done if he had actually had to pay with his credit card or with some other token. That's one. This would be the very obvious one that we would do. And even if this was not the Collego exclusive series, where we're talking about an extremely different valuation or price for the Collego token, even for the other pieces, we would definitely be working with Toby to try and at least do it in a manner where if someone were to buy the piece with Collego tokens, they would effectively get maybe a 10% discount or a 15% discount, just to make it more attractive for them to use Collego tokens. Okay, now this is the first part of the answer. Now, the second part of the answer is actually what is more interesting, and it's a little bit more technical and more complex. I'm not sure everyone will understand me, but I'll try and give the explanation anyway. Now, what I just mentioned was the fact that in the last 1 week, the total volume, the turnover for Fusion NFTs was about $4.8 million US. Okay. Now, if you think about where the Collego token market cap is right now, is around about $700,000 US. Okay. Now, just try to imagine if we successfully convinces everyone to use Collego tokens to buy Fusion NFTs, that would mean that the turnover in the last 1 week of 4.8 million would have to go into the liquidity pool to buy Collego tokens in order to complete the transaction, right? And if you were to pump $4.8 million US into the Collego token liquidity pool, with a current market cap with a current value in a liquidity pool of just 700,000, it's going to immediately cause a significant rise in the price of Collego tokens. Now, because the curve is actually a parabolic curve, what it means is that by pushing $4.8 million into the liquidity pool, what the purchaser effectively gets in return is something that's way more than 4.8 million. It could be as much as double the amount, right? So what he has done is that he's effectively converted his $4.8 million US into $9.6 million US worth of buying power. And that would be the single largest reason why anyone would try to use Collego tokens to buy Fusion NFTs rather than any other payment methods. And I'm not sure whether everyone completely understands my second point, but this is exactly how the pricing of the tokens in the liquidity pool actually works. I hope that's helpful. Thanks, Dylan.
Thank you, Julian. Okay, we'll move on to crypto zone calls now. Thank you for your patience. We do have a lot to get through to tonight, so I do appreciate you've had a long wait. Please, crypto, the floor is yours.
Yeah, hello guys. Only one question. After those 7 days or the first week of since the launch, I need to know when the actual marketing will start.
Okay. Thank you for that question, CryptoZone. Look, to be honest, we will be starting the marketing as soon as the limits on the purchase ends, and that is actually this Friday. We will definitely be starting a series of marketing events in order to try and bring in a lot more different types of investors. I think in this 6 days, our primary objective was to bring in as many people who are as passionate as us about art and about our token and about our direction. And thereafter, we're trying to bring in the broader base of investors, and that is when potentially the whales can come in, because there will be no limit as to how many tokens they can buy. Right. But I think everyone understands why we needed this initial period, because we needed to form a base of investors who actually believe in our token at the very base, because again, like I mentioned earlier, the curve is a parabolic curve, right? If someone were to come in with a lot of millions to buy into our token, we want to make sure that they come in at the later stage and not at the earlier stage. Because my concern is that if they hold on to too many tokens, or one single person holds on to too many tokens, they could really create a lot of panic if they were to sell all at a go. So CryptoZone, I want to reassure you, we're definitely all hands on deck as far as marketing is concerned, as soon as the 6 days of limited period is over. Thank you.
Thank you.
Does that answer your question, Crypto Zone?
Yes.
Okay,
I also started my own marketing, but that's another story.
Okay, well, thank you for joining us. If you have no other questions, just to facilitate the other speakers, could you please drop down to listener? That would be fantastic.
Need to find out how to do that first.
I'll do it for you, okay? Not a problem. Okay, so moving on, the question that we've already said also goes with a question that I received via a DM from Ali Kisrawan, and I would like to know, have you considered listing on a central exchange? What are your considerations behind those decisions? And has an application been submitted? For example, have you tried to list on Binance?
Right. Thank you, Dylan, for that question, and thank you, Ali, for that question. Look, I think every token ultimately would like to list themselves on a centralized exchange, okay? And I think we're no different. But we need to find the right time to actually list ourselves on a centralized exchange, and I explain to you why. Once our tokens go into a centralized exchange, it will cease to be as transparent as it is now. Right. The reason why we keep telling everyone that we are a community first token is because we want to be completely transparent about everything that we do. And that's the reason why if you go onto your blockchain and you do a check, you can actually see every single one of our wallets that is in relation to that has been created for a specific purpose, right? So we have a community reserve. And our community can watch that wallet and ensure that every single token we spend in that wallet will be spent for the community, right? And we have an artist wallet, and the community can watch the artist wallet and ensure that every single token that we spend there will be for the purposes of incubating artists or for helping artists and promoting their art, right? So that's how we work. We want to be fully transparent. But I think all of us realize that the moment we actually list ourselves in a centralized exchange, and a lot of these token transactions then move onto the centralized exchange, the only thing you will see is the wallet, for example, that Binance holds. Right, and you're not going to see what happens within all of the wallets that are inside Binance, right? And as much as we want to do that, we need to make sure that number one, we have built a certain level of confidence and a certain level of trust among our community before we can move into a stage where there's a portion of our tokens that is actually going to be opaque and non-transparent. That's the first thing. The second thing is we really need to ensure that we have a large enough market cap in order to open ourselves up to the people on the centralized exchange where they do that trading. And the reason for that is because there's going to be an arbitrage as well, because the prices on the centralized exchange is going to be different from the prices on the decentralized exchange. And we need to make sure that our market cap is large enough to be able to buffer a lot of the arbitrage or the difference in prices between the centralized exchange and the decentralized exchange. And I think that's the only reason why we are waiting for our market cap to be larger before we actually make an application to the centralized exchange. Now, having said that, I think a lot of you who heard my previous AMA, you know for a fact that we've been talking to Coinbase, we've been talking to OKChain, we've been talking to Binance. We have a very strong relationship because a lot of our Fusion NFTs are going to be listed on their marketplaces. And because of this relationship, it actually makes it a lot easier for us to get listed, right? Unlike other tokens that come in cold. But having said that, we're actually biding our time and making sure that we make the right decision at the right time to get ourselves listed on a CX. Thank you, Dylan. Thank you for the question.
Thank you, Julian. Rostic, thank you for your patience. Welcome to the room.
Thank you, Dylan. Thank you, Julian. Guys, I have a few questions, if you don't mind. I've been following Coinllectibles for like 6 or 7 months probably. And big props to you guys for launching the token. So my first question is this. From what I read and from what I know, from what I read in the press, from my understanding, you guys own galleries where the actual physical art is stored at, or how does that work? Because, you know, from the vases that I've seen being sold for like $1 million, where do you guys acquire that from?
Yeah, thank you for that question. So, you know, what we provide the owner of the Fusion NFT is the option to show the physical piece in our gallery, of which we have one in Hong Kong right now in Museo 11, a very nice development overlooking the harbor. It's a great place to view a piece, and we have a lot of our owners taking us up on that, and those pieces are shown in that particular gallery. But we also offer the ability for the owner of the Fusion NFT to request the physical piece to be sent to them. So it could go into a vault, or it could be sent wherever the owner wants. So it provides that flexibility. And as we look forward, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if we expand our physical galleries into different places. But the idea very much is to be able to provide more accessibility of the physical pieces alongside the Fusion NFT as the owner wants.
Thank you for that, Toby. And my follow-up question is this. So with your platform, can any artist that, let's say there's an artist, there's a painter, and they want to list the Fusion NFT with you guys, are they able to do that? And if they are, how would you guys perform the audit or basically justify the price that artist would put? Because right now, with everything else that you guys are listing, you guys show paperwork and you guys show everything, you know, that's actually how much it's worth. Is it going to work like that with every Fusion NFT, or is it going to be artist per artist based?
Yeah, I mean,
I hope you understand the question.
It's a great question, and it's part of how we wanted to differentiate ourselves in the NFT market by having a higher standard of documentation on the NFT, and our tech guys did a really good job in thinking about creative ways to get a lot more information on the NFT and be able to use that across different marketplaces. But the answer to that, in at least now, I mean, I think the whole NFT market will evolve. It's a very exciting market, and I think the Fusion NFT will continue to evolve. We've already had some updates to our Fusion NFT, which gives it more flexibility in terms of how it's distributed. But the answer to that is we're not working with any artist. We're working with artists that are excited about the technology, the NFT aspect with what they're doing. And we're looking for artists that have a differentiated angle, which we think would be exciting to the NFT community and beyond their traditional customers that they work with. So it's not anybody. We are very relationship orientated and building relationships with the artists. We're doing it strategically because we want to do things in all parts of the world. and across different types of art forms. So I think you can expect to see from us more diversified art forms from more artists in different places, but I think you can expect to see the same kind of quality in terms of the way we document that particular piece of physical art on the Fusion NFT.
Thank you so much for that explanation. And my last and final question. I know somebody touched the subject of marketing. I know you guys are all over the press, like regular press, and you guys have been all over regular press for the past like 6 months. And I know you guys are a publicly traded company, well, at least owned by a publicly traded company. But my question in regards to marketing is, since you guys do come from, if I may put it the right way, of like centralized world with, you know, publicly traded companies and everything else, are you guys gonna tackle the crypto marketing? Will you have like basically two sides of the story, one centralized marketing and one crypto side marketing, or will it remain as centralized marketing?
Yeah, I think our marketing efforts will be, you know, we're very interested, and we spend a lot of time as a team thinking about our positioning as a company, as the Fusion NFT, and our aspirations around that within the metaverse. So directionally, we want to position ourselves in that space, but we want to certainly work with partners that are from the centralized side of things, if that's the right way to put it. We want to be at the forefront of the evolution of change that's going to come around this market. So I think the answer is probably around both of those. You know, it's very interesting what's happening with the crypto. We've embraced that in terms of how people can pay for things, but we also want to work with, you know, credit cards, right? And just get this get the Fusion NFT in as many quality hands as possible, with the right artist and collectible partner type of customer base.
Thank you so much for that. Those are my questions. And Toby, Julian, Dylan, I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Thank you for dropping by. So we do have quite a few people asking questions. I'm going to try and get through some of our other questions at the same time. So I'm just going to take a pause, and we'll go back to our own questions. So, Julian, why do you think the Collego token is $1 billion plus token?
Thanks, Dylan. That's a fantastic question, right? Look, I kind of alluded to it a little bit in my previous discussion, about an artist or a collector or a group of collectors wanting to actually purchase Fusion NFTs with the Collego tokens, right? So I hope I made my case as to how or why we can persuade more people to actually buy the Fusion NFTs with Collego tokens. So I think that's the first step. Now, why I think it's worth $1 billion or more than $1 billion. Look, this is interesting, right? So yesterday, we put up a poll in the Telegram chat asking, most people within our community where they think the market cap of the Collego tokens would be in a year, and I think we had the most votes at $1 billion US dollars. And to be honest, that was very encouraging. But in all honesty, if in 1 year's time, the Collego tokens market cap actually hasn't reached $1 billion US dollars, then I would be very, very disappointed in myself, right? The reason I say this is because the potential for the tokens is huge, right? Just simply because of the trading turnover of Fusion NFTs. Right. If you think about it, in just one week, last week, the the turnover was 4.8 million US dollars. And that's only with just a few pieces that Coinlectibles has rolled out so far. And if you look at all of the pieces that Coinlectibles has rolled out so far, most of it are ceramics. They actually have not started rolling out the artworks of all the other international artists, some 30, 40 international artists that they have right now. All of them are very famous. All of them are top artists, and they haven't even rolled those out yet. Just imagine if the turnover for the Fusion NFTs were to reach 100 million a month. The demand for Collego tokens would go through the roof. And I can assure you, if you have a demand for Collego tokens, 100 million USD every month, month after month, I am very confident that the market cap of the Collego tokens will be way more than $1 billion US dollars. And I firmly believe that. And that is the reason why I think that should be the true value of the Collego tokens. Thank you, Dylan.
Thank you, Julian. So we have the guy 123 NFT who's got his hand up. So this may be, he has asked to ask a question, but we'll bring him in now just in case it's related directly to this question.
So yeah, thank you for the opportunity to speak. I got invited by a mutual friend of ours from a blockchain dev company just to come listen in. This Coolio token, am I saying it right?
Collego.
Sounds really, really cool. Collego, sorry.
We can make it Coolio though as well, because it is a cool coin. It's like the best coin going.
Sounds really interesting. I kind of put my hand up for the previous question about digital media marketing, because that's what I do for crypto projects and for NFT projects and protocols and ecosystem projects and you name it. Kind of build Discord, and I was just wanting to add like my 2 cents on that was it's not either or, it's not or, it's and, it's both. Like you need to do both. Like some projects are a lot more tailored to just NFT kind of specific marketing or crypto space specific marketing, but I think in the next kind of quarter, marketing towards the masses is going to be where if you can get a kind of a retention rate of like 10% of what you can do on traditional social media, like you can take over a small country. So that was my 2 cents, and excited to hear more about this project. Thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you for your comments. Thank you.
Toby, did you want to say something at that point?
No, I think those were good comments, and for me, it's what's important is that we continue to work with Collego to be innovative, to come up with, we put some things out about some of the ideas that we've been talking about and will be executing on, which are mystery drops and gamifying how we're engaging with the community, how Collego can have some influence in terms of who we work with, the types of blockchains, etc. And I just think that's very exciting, and I think that's a core part of our utility to Collego, is to come up with and continue to support and work with exciting ways that will create value and interest in that community, and I think the rest will just take care of itself.
Thank you, Toby. So I think we pretty much covered the question on marketing, but we'll just see what you've got planned in terms of marketing. And so you previously mentioned that marketing will start. So what do you have in mind that will help bring new Collego investors? Is it just basically running as we said, the centralized, decentralized, the way it's done in the crypto world, because it's quite a big learning curve because it is a different approach in the decentralized environment.
Yeah, Dylan, thank you for that question. I think, look, you're absolutely right. I think trying to do marketing in the crypto space is a lot more complex than what we are used to in the traditional space, right? And to be honest, we are actually very, very community driven. Again, we had a poll in our Telegram group to ask everyone, how they think we should proceed with marketing and how we should proceed using the resources that we have and how we should proceed using the marketing pool of tokens that we have, right? And obviously there were quite a number of options, right? We could do traditional banner advertising. We could try and get ourselves listed on the on CMC or CG. We could hire KOLs or influencers to talk about, our tokens. We could try to do get members type activity. And in reality, all of them are options that we have in hand, right? But what we want to do, or what we want to do well, is we want to make sure that we use our resources effectively, right? And that's almost like a motto that we have within Collego, is that we use the minimum resources to achieve the maximum results. And in this respect, we're very, very happy to always, consult our community. We think through. What I found basically is that our community is actually very logical, very reasonable. They are able to really provide a lot of good comments and able to provide the right connections, right, to ensure that we are using our resources properly. So look, all of those options are out there. All of them, we will leave no stone unturned. But what's most important is that we're going to prioritize them according to their effectiveness and their efficiency. Thank you, Dylan.
Okay, thank you for that. So I see that you've been listed on CoinSniper and CoinMooner. That's seriously quite an achievement for a token that is just 4 days old. And I think if the other listeners would agree, everyone would put up 100 in the Twitter space, wouldn't they? So, I mean, 100 to Collego for achieving this in 4 days. It's been phenomenal, the growth that this token has had.
Yeah, and in that respect, Dylan, look, I am really, really delighted. I mean, I'm sure I've not done due diligence on all of the tokens out there in the world, right? But I think it's a great result for our token, and I can assure you that it was possible only because of our community, right? We haven't spent a single cent on either of those listings. Look, most people would just pay and get themselves listed. Well, we haven't done any of that because, I refuse to spend money unless it's effective. And basically, it was achieved only because our community were there to support us and to give us the support that we need. And that's what I'm really happy about. And I want to thank everyone for being so supportive. Thank you.
Thank you, Julian. So ATX is next in the queue, but I've got two hands up and I'm presuming they are to do directly with the question. So we'll go with Scott first. Hello, Scott. Welcome to the show.
Hey, how are you guys?
Hey, very well. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, for sure. I just have a quick question for you. I know you guys quickly mentioned it, but you just kind of talked really quickly on the metaverse. Do you guys have plans on setting up a gallery or getting a space on one of the metaverses to show your potential, like your gallery or anything like that?
Yeah, so I'm going to try to take this question for Toby, and I think the main reason is because representing a listed company, he can't actually make any forward-looking statements, or he can't make any statements that could be price sensitive to his stock. But I think the way I see it is this, right? We have everyone has a different definition of what a metaverse is. And in our case, a metaverse is actually a multiverse, right? And when I say multiverse, I really mean, the virtual universe together with the physical universe that we live in, right? And as long as, we are running a platform that actually caters to multiple universes, we think that's already a metaverse. But coming back to your specific question, okay, I don't know what Coinllectibles is going to do, but in reality, if you are asking whether or not we intend to have a virtual space, And your definition of metaverse is basically a virtual space like, what Nike has done in Roblox. I think from our perspective, at least from Collego's perspective, I think that's something that we would be very, very interested to do. We think that there's something that's going to be very exciting for our Collego community. And certainly it's something that we'll be moving towards. However, again, like I said, everything would have to be prioritized depending on its impact or its benefit to the community. Thank you, Scott, for the question.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott, for that. The guy, please.
Yeah, it was just to add my 2 cents on kind of like your thoughts around like engaging your community in kind of the direction of this. And I thought that's a really good like way to go about it. It was just a small suggestion in something I've used in some of my other projects is to have a regular community call in Discord as an example, because with the AMA stage, like it's a very, very like smooth process of inviting people up to speak in a manner that's like managed, and then you can really like engage your community in like people can react to get a role to become like ambassadors or to become moderators from those community calls, and then they can have like little separate focus groups around issues and opportunities that you want to further within your community, and it just makes it organizable a little bit better. And then the higher order version of that is to set up a DAO on there's a couple of protocols now where it's almost like a Wix drag and drop, set up a DAO, and you can put up bounties for things and work that you want people to do. They can propose a strategy, and then the money goes into escrow. So that was just my 2 cents. I thought that might be valuable, seeing as like how kind of brand new you are to being listed on those 2 exchanges, on those 2 aggregators is good though. Bloody hell, 4 days. Congrats.
Thank you, the guy, for that comment. I think, look, I really, really appreciate it. We're still learning, and we would definitely be taking that into advisement, and definitely something that we'll be pushing ahead. Thank you again, very, very much for that comment. I think it's definitely very helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that was a great comment.
No worries.
That was a great comment as well, and from my side, I'm very, very much still learning and enjoying the engagements that we've got, and doing more of that is very much part of the agenda. So thank you for that comment.
Thank you. ATX, to follow on from that, thanks for being so patient. Welcome to the floor.
Hello, how are you?
We're all great. How are you?
Good. My question is for Julian, and this is in relation to an earlier question regarding how people have incentive to use the Collego token to make their purchases. And he mentioned that some sort of incentives are there, but one of the incentives is, and forgive me if my numbers are incorrect, but with a liquidity pool of 700,000, if you inject 4.5 million, you suddenly get 9 million available, which gives you much higher buying power. What I want to know is what happens to those tokens after the purchase is made. Who takes those tokens? What happens to those tokens? And if the person who receives those tokens then decides to sell those tokens, 4.5 million of selling can have the opposite effect to raising the price. Like to have an answer to that. Thank you.
Thank you, ATX. Thank you very much for that question. Look, I think you are absolutely right. If we were a single transaction where someone buys the tokens and use the tokens to buy the artwork and then sells the token, and then the seller, having received the tokens, then push the tokens right back into the liquidity pool, then obviously we're back to where we started, right? But I think that's not how it actually works in real life. That's the reason why we need to build an ecosystem. In most cases, obviously, the tokens would have been spent, and given that they've been used to buy Fusion NFTs, would have gone to Coinllectibles, for example. Coinllectibles will have use for those tokens. For example, we are hoping that we could use the tokens, for example, to buy art pieces in the future. We hope that our artists especially the young artists, will be willing to accept Collego tokens as payment for their art as we build them up, as we incubate them. That's also one of the reasons why we have the artist pool. And I think that's the key. I think the key is for us to ensure that we have an ecosystem where someone, upon receiving the Collego tokens, would not immediately think of selling it back into the pool, but rather hang on to it so that he can use it in the future, either to buy services from Coinllectibles or to buy Fusion NFTs from Coinllectibles, and also for us to then build more utility so that the tokens can be used and so that it doesn't get sold right back into the liquidity pool as soon as it's been expanded. So I think that's what we really need to do. And I can assure you that this is something that we're working on every day and every week when we hold those meetings, is to build an ecosystem where people actually hang on to their tokens because, number one, they will continue to increase in value, which gives them more buying power. Number two, they will have enough utility to use those tokens so they don't actually have to cash it out immediately. And that is how we build a very healthy token and build a very healthy price graph for our tokens. Thank you for the question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Atex, do you have any more questions that you'd like to ask?
No, that's it. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for participating. Really appreciate it. And Rustic, you put your hand up.
Yeah. Quick. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, try again. There was some. You were rugged, so try again. Thank you.
Okay. Quick question. Somebody DM me to ask you. In regards to the tax on the token and the tokenomics of the token, you guys have a 12% tax, and it's not a reflection token. How will that work, and how will the staking on actual token work? Like, what benefits does the user have from having the 12% tax on it?
Right. So basically, you have to look at this from a holistic perspective, right? If we had launched the token at a valuation that we think would have been suitable for a token like this, we would have done so maybe at $100 million US, right? And we would have done that because we would then be able to reserve sufficient tokens to pay for development, to pay for the artist pool, and to pay for all of the good things that we want to try and provide to the community. However, internally, we actually made a conscious decision to actually start at a very, very low market cap because we want more people to actually enjoy the growth and the development that we're going to experience and to grow with us in this journey, because that would actually be able to help us build a lot of loyal token holders, right, and diamond holders, right? That's actually the vision that we had when we started this token. Now, you would have to agree with me that launching the tokens at $1 million US market cap only, and I think I've explained this before in a previous AMA, it actually results in a loss-making transaction for us, right? The reason for this is this. We actually distributed 350 million tokens at 0.1 cents. We raised a total of $350,000 US, of which $280,000 went into the liquidity pool. The remaining 70,000, 20,000 we had to use that to pay Certic for the audit, and the remaining 50,000 is not even sufficient to pay for all the development work. So we were actually literally out of pocket to put this token together because we believe in trying to build a community-first token, which I don't think anyone else had the vision to do so. And that is the reason why we need this 12% tax, because that's how we try to earn enough tokens in order to enable us to build the infrastructure, to build a team that would continue to work on this token and work on the utility and to grow this community that we have. And that is the reason why we have that transfer tax. Now, a lot of people have asked before whether or not we would ever lift the transfer tax. And to be honest, I think the answer has to be yes. The reason, as you correctly alluded to earlier, is that eventually when we actually move onto a centralized exchange, it will be meaningless to keep the transfer taxes. And at that point in time, we would definitely have to drop it. And that's the reason why, as I mentioned previously, we will need to see a significant market cap for our tokens before we would drop the transfer taxes and before we would move on to a centralized exchange. And this actually does benefit the community. Firstly, because we start with a very, very low market cap so that everyone can enjoy the journey up together with us. And secondly, the transfer taxes actually prevents or is a hindrance or is a discouragement for a lot of day traders and a lot of speculators and for a lot of people who, a lot of speculative type investors that we want to try and avoid, right? We want to build a community of people that are here because they really believe in what we're doing. They're not here for short-term gains. And they see us as a $1 billion plus token. And that's the reason why I think this transfer tax is beneficial to the community. I hope that answers your question, Rustic. Thank you.
Yeah, no, Julian, that answers it. And well, just can you touch on the subject of the staking? Like, how would the staking work, and what would be the benefits of the staking? That was the second question that they asked me.
Sure. Now, on the staking itself, look, a lot of staking out there are for protocol type tokens, right? Because they use a proof of stake consensus mechanism, and because of that, staking actually would result in creating some kind of a return, which they can then pay to stakers. Okay. Now we are thinking about staking in obviously in a more innovative manner, right? Because we're not a protocol token. We're an ecosystem token. And what we really think about, how we really think about staking is like this. And again, it's something that's a work in progress, because as you would imagine, we're only 4 days old, and that's why we're really thinking very far. But I want to share this with everyone, but I want you to be patient with us as we try and build it out. The way we think about staking is like this. We believe that we can provide a staking pool to receive Collego tokens because we think we can use the Collego tokens to actually go out and acquire art pieces. Okay, we already have a lot of artists and some collectors who, because they believe in our Collego tokens, are willing to sell the art pieces to us, in return for Collego tokens. Right, and what we intend to do is that after we've bought the art pieces, we can then do one of two things. One is we can sell it to Coinllectibles at a fixed premium, and that fixed premium can then be paid back to people who have provided stakes in the Collego tokens. But obviously, that would be a smaller return because the premium is fixed, and obviously, as far as I'm concerned, even though I have a fantastic relationship with Toby, he's not going to pay me a lot of premium just because we managed to secure the art in advance. But the second way we could do it is that if our staking community is willing to take a little bit more risk, what we could do then is that we could then do the fusion NFTs for these art pieces that we've bought, put it up on the Coinllectibles Metaverse platform for auction. And if the auction do very, very well, and we get back a purchase price that's way higher than the purchase price that we paid for the art piece, then that return can then be shared with people who made the staking. And I think that's where it gets really interesting. And I think this is very innovative. We're still trying to study how which part of it we can put it into the smart contract and which part of it we have to do it manually. But that is how I think the staking would actually work for us. And I hope that answers your question. Thank you, Rustic.
Yes, it does. Thank you, Julian. I appreciate it. And Dylan, thank you for giving me the time.
Oh no, not a problem. This is what we're here for. It's a holistic approach, and we're here until the job's done this evening. So we're glad to have everyone on board and involved. Artists, we would like you to stay on with us as well. We do have something quite exciting to share with you shortly. So with regards to the community, Julian, the community themselves, you've been phenomenal. We asked you for retweeting up to 50 times, and you've done it. So now let's listen to the question and see and listen to this good news. So Julian and Toby, have you considered allowing the Collego holders to swap from NASDAQ shares when the time comes?
Okay, so again, I'm going to try to answer this question and spare Toby again from answering questions that could be forward-looking or could be price sensitive, right? So as far as I'm concerned, this relates to Collego tokens. Look, we have, to be honest, explored the possibility of actually allowing members of the community to use Collego tokens to actually buy Coinllectibles shares. Okay, I think we've actually approached U.S. securities lawyers, and I can tell you for a fact that from a technical perspective, that's actually very possible. Okay, it's not something that is not permitted from a regulatory perspective. So that's actually very, very exciting. Obviously, whether or not Coinllectibles or Toby is willing to go down that path, I think that's something that we can talk about in the future. But at the very least, I think I just want to let everyone know that technically that's actually possible, and I think that's very exciting because I think then not only would you have a piece of the token, but you could also consider actually being a shareholder of Coinllectibles itself. And I'm sure most people will find that a very, very exciting proposition. The second possibility, for example, is this, right? If we get ourselves properly licensed, or we find a proper license holder, we could also create security tokens. I think a lot of the crypto community must have heard of how some of the exchanges have actually turn, for example, Tesla shares into tokens so that it could be traded. Now, if we could find the right person to sponsor something like this, again, that's another possibility where our community can then swap Collego tokens for the equivalent of Coinlectibles shares. And the third possibility, I think the guy mentioned DAO earlier. And DAO effectively in the real world is really a form of a fund because it's a pooling of everyone's money and resources in order to actually build a portfolio of an investment, right? Which could be anything. And if we were to be able to create a DAO for NFTs or create a DAO for metaverse companies equity, then again we would most definitely would like to offer our Collego community an opportunity to actually buy units of the DAO or participation in the DAO with the Collego tokens. I think that all of that is all the blue sky, right? It's something we can talk about now, but it's not something that we can actually make happen anytime in the very, very near future. But I think it's something that's definitely something that's possible. Thank you, Dylan, for the question.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. So another special announcement you've got talk us through this Collego exclusive series and what it means. So what's so special about the ceramics for the upcoming series auction, the #1 auction?
Right. So look, I think not many people actually understand ceramics very, very much because I think ceramics has always been a small part of the arts and collectible world. However, the main thing I wanted to really emphasize is that it's actually much more difficult to do a ceramic than to do a painting. And the reason is this. After you have completed your artwork on a piece of ceramic, you actually have to bake it. And very often, people would have to, even if you were perfect in terms of putting the artwork together, the baking could go wrong. And very often, even if throughout ancient history, you would have seen that in order to produce one perfect piece of ceramic, you would probably have to destroy maybe another 9 pieces, right? And that's the reason why it's so valuable, and because of all that work that goes into creating that art piece. And that's one of the reasons why our major shareholder and our chairman loves collecting ceramics. And I think the second thing I want to also highlight about how wonderful these ceramics are is that we actually bought them from our chairman. He's actually, obviously a very, very well-known personality here in Hong Kong. And we are actually delighted that, he's willing to share some of the art pieces that he has, that he loves. And if the community has an opportunity to actually secure any of these pieces, I really will congratulate you in doing so, and to be part of, this possibly a small group of connoisseurs who actually appreciate the amount of hard work that has gone into the art piece itself. So that's really what I want to say about the ceramics that's coming up for the Collego exclusive series. I hope everyone would have a wonderful time and an enjoyable time and a fun time bidding for them. And I want to congratulate the winner in advance for being able to successfully bid for such a wonderful piece of art. Thank you, Dylan.
Thank you. So let me get this right. So you're going to kind of gamify the auction to make it a fun experience for the community. Blind auction, was it? How are you going to plan that?
Right. So the way we're going to gamify the auction is this, right? So in a regular blind auction, everyone submits their bid and then blindly. So there wouldn't be the part where everyone is trying to fight for a higher price for that piece because it's blind. And then we'll simply pick the highest the highest bid, and that person will be the winner of the art piece. But the way we've gamified this, and I think it's really interesting, is that the 4 highest losing bid would also get something, right? So even if you bid for it and you actually failed to win it, if you still fall within the top 4 losing bids, we're actually going to pay or return you your tokens plus 1%, right? So you're going to earn 1% on your tokens even if you fail to win the bid, provided, of course, you're in the top 4. And the reason why we do this is because we want everyone to try and guess where they think that piece is likely to be sold at, and try to get as close as possible to it. If you're only aiming for the 1% additional premium, and of course, for those who are really out there and they really want to secure that piece, by all means, please try and bid, for a price that you think that piece should be of value. Thanks, Dylan.
Oh, thanks for that. That's quite exciting, and I think we can say right now we should move on and let's excite the artists a little bit more here. So, Julian, you've got something very special to share. I know, because you told me earlier this afternoon. So, to all you artists out there, do listen carefully. And if at this point there's any artists that want to ask Dylan, I'm Dylan, Julian, a question, now would be a great time. So Julian, what do you have to share so special to our artists?
Yeah. So look, when we created this this particular token, I think one of the main reasons was also to incubate new and upcoming artists, right? And that's what we want to do. I think if there are any any artists on this call today, I would love it if you guys could approach us, so that we can think about how we can incubate you and how we can bring your artworks to the community. Now, how we really want to do this is, again, we want to make sure it's fun for the community, and this is how I think about it. We would actually, assuming that there are 5 new artists that are interested to try and get incubated, the way we would do it is that we will probably pick one of their art pieces, turn it into a very simple, non-fusion NFT, but a simple digital art NFT, and then we'll probably mint something like maybe 1,000 or 10,000 pieces for each of these artists, and then we'll let our community actually buy these NFTs and it'll be priced very, very low, maybe 10 US cents or $1. I think that we can go back to the community to confirm, and price it very low so that our community.
Julian, we've lost you. Toby, you still on the line?
I'm still online though.
Okay, so it looks like we've lost Julian for a moment. So I guess I should break out and sing.
No, I think just hopefully Julian will rejoin and complete that thought and some of the detail behind it. But I think it was an earlier question in terms of the evolution of the NFT and clearly we're focusing on having quite a lot of information on the Fusion NFT, and it works very well for higher end pieces, and but there is huge interest in community-led initiatives around the artist space to help develop that, and I think we're welcoming creative thoughts around how to do that, and really how to develop the artist community around what we're doing. So, I think that's really where Julian was going with some of those comments. So, we spent a long time getting this Fusion NFT in the right place. We're broadening who we're working with. You're going to see some very interesting names and partners materialize with us in the future, but we're definitely focused on that emerging artist community as well, and being able to support them.
Thank you. I'm just having a little bit of trouble getting Julian back into the room. He has popped up as co-host, but I'm just going to remove him as co-host for a second and bring him back in. So hopefully I can get him back online now. Okay, Julian, are you there? Julian?
Can you hear me?
Yes, great. So
great.
Just to pick it up, so we're talking about the artists, and that you're going to put them at a low price. We're going to communicate with the community on this, and maybe take it from there.
Yeah, so again, like what I was trying to say was that we're going to really gamify it and make it fun for our community, so that effectively what we're trying to do is to let our community vote on which artists they think we should incubate, and we're going to do it in the form of digital, the simple digital NFTs, and we're going to do it based on the number of NFTs that we've sold, or how quickly the NFTs are sold for each of these artists. So I think, look, this is going to be very, very interesting, very fun. We hope to see a lot of budding artists join us, and hopefully we can incubate you, and we could grow together, and hopefully our community could grow to love your.
Julian?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
Okay, so where did you lose me? It's strange. I'm not sure why my Twitter app isn't really working very well.
Yeah, it was basically that hopefully we can incubate and grow together, and hopefully for our community we can grow to love the work. So I mean, you pretty much wrapped it up. To be honest, I think in a nutshell. When do you think this will maybe start to be rolled out? Or when can artists expect? I mean, I'm assuming they're going to have to follow on Twitter in order to be notified of when this campaign will start.
Yeah, definitely. Please follow our Twitter. Please join our community on the Telegram group. My colleagues will definitely be trying to roll this out as soon as they can. As you would imagine, there are like a million things that they have to do to try and on the one hand promote our tokens, and on the other hand try to get a lot of the actual real business going. But I assure you that it's going to be sooner rather than later. Thank you, Dylan.
Thank you very much. So I do have a question that's come in, and the way I operate is that I don't really want to lose the context of the question that's come through, because I think it's only fair that if someone does ask something within the community, they should be given a fair shot at the question being answered. So this question comes in from Critica53, and no one wants to see this project fail. They see it as something that's just so solid. It's quite possibly revolutionary, and the fact that it's also a fusion NFT, which is going to change the NFT world. He's saying this. The CEO should know that by spending the bare minimum in marketing, we are losing market cap support, holder support, and community members. We've lost 100 so far. What do you think about that, Julian?
Again, like I mentioned earlier, it's not that we are it's not that we're stingy about spending money on marketing. I think that's something that we will definitely be doing. It's just that we haven't done it in the last 4 days, and we're not going to do it until Friday. And as I mentioned previously before, I think the main reason for us to want to do this is because we're trying to get as many people who are solid about this project, who really loves this project, to come in before we actually open the floodgates. It's not that far away. I know that a day in the crypto community is like eternity. However, we're really talking about Friday. Once Friday comes, like I said, all hands on deck. Will definitely be leaving no stone unturned. It's not a question of not spending. It's more a question of how the resources that we have should be spent. Thanks, Dylan.
Thank you. That was the only question I had on that point. And moving on then. So what kind of exhibitions and events are in the pipeline for the rest of the year? I know you're going to the very first International Motorsport Expo, which will be here in Hong Kong next week. Wow, that's pretty cool. Talk us through it. What are you up to there, and what other exhibitions and events do you have planned for the rest of the year?
Yeah, so this is where it gets interesting. I think a lot of projects you see out there, after they launch, nothing really happens, and they just all back into development, because a lot of projects are launched, and the purpose of launching tokens is because they want to raise money for a project, and you wait for a long time before the project comes online, right? The difference with us is that, like I said, we found a project that has already been launched. We found a project that's already working, a project that's already growing, and that's why you can expect a lot of things to be happening in the coming weeks. Not even in the coming months, but even, like, for example, in the month of December, for example, as Dylan, as you correctly mentioned, we've got a motor show where all the supercars are going to be displayed and are going to be shown off to the richest tycoons in Hong Kong, and we are actually going to be part of that, right? Coinllectibles will actually have a booth, and would actually have panels, and we're talking about 3D panels, right? These are auto-stereoscopic 3D panels where you can see, all of our artwork in 3-dimensional, all right, in 3D, without wearing any glasses. Right, this is actually, again, auto-stereoscopic 3D panels is actually again one of the technologies that we have within the group, not necessarily Coinllectibles or Collego tokens, but within our group. This is the ecosystem that we have, and these panels will be put up onto the booth that we have within this motor show, and it's actually going to be right in the middle of the entire exhibition hall, and the primary purpose is for people to see the Fusion NFTs and to see the artworks that we've got. And hopefully, if any of the art pieces, especially the Collego exclusive series, have been sold, and if there's a special request from the owner or the successful bidder that he wants his piece to be actually present, for example, in that motor show, we will be most glad and most happy to try and arrange for that to happen. And that's the beauty of trying to buy Fusion NFTs from Coinllectibles, is that you have all of this additional experience other than just buying a simple digital NFT. And the second thing is we are also going to, the second thing is because we are a technology company and we have a lot of our research and development being done in Hong Kong. So we're actually in the Hong Kong Science and Technology Park, and we have the full support of the Hong Kong Science and Technology Park in terms of our growth and in terms of our development. And what they've done is that they've kindly sponsored a space at the old Central Market. I'm not sure whether everyone knows Hong Kong that well, but the Central Market is kind of like one of the most one of the busiest spots in Hong Kong, where especially on a Friday night, where there will be a lot of human traffic. It's actually an area where there are pubs and restaurants around this space where it has been given to us for us to again display the Fusion NFTs, to tell people about the Fusion NFTs, to tell people about the artwork. And I think this is really going to be amazing. We will have special or professional photographers to take pictures and to take videos, and we will actually put them all up onto our social media, onto our Telegram group, onto our website, so that everyone can see that every day of the week we are working very, very hard to push Coinllectibles art pieces out there and Fusion NFTs out there for everyone to see and for everyone to experience. And I think that is where the value is when you make an investment or when you buy the Collego tokens. Thank you, Dylan.
Thank you, gentlemen. And just for artists there, can you just confirm that should they be successful and they have minted their work with Coinllectibles, and should their new owners want to display their artwork, their physical artwork, can you just confirm, Toby, that it's 10 years that it can stay in the gallery for the moment?
That's right. There's 10 years for the owner of the Fusion NFT, maximum of 10 years. So we have to have an end date for if the owner disappears. But the idea is to create flexibility and accessibility and increased ways to enjoy the art. I think the art market is fantastic. It does have, in some cases, limitations in terms of something comes on the market, disappears for a long time. We want to provide maximum opportunity for the owner to be able to show it or not, as the case may be. And we want to see a good mix of people holding Fusion NFTs with the pieces for a period of time, and also creating liquidity in the secondary markets for it. So it's really all the above. And the gallery part of it is very interesting. I see that expanding, but I think there's a lot of other ways to enjoy the physical with the Fusion NFT. And Julian touched on the motor event in Hong Kong. I think that's super exciting. We've got another event coming up in December as well, touching another aspect of the NFT. And I think you're just going to see a lot more visibility as we go into 2022 in terms of what we're doing and who we're working with and the different pieces. And we're just hugely excited about all that's coming. And every month seems to have built on the last month. But you're going into December, it's going to be another busy month. And as Julian mentioned there, I think you'll see more on social media around some of those activities.
Thank you, Toby. Thanks a lot. So at this point, we'd like to open the floor fully up to artists, collectors, or potential investors that would be interested in the utility token Collego. Give you a minute or so if anyone wants to come forward to ask any questions to the panel. Hopefully we've managed to answer all those questions that you've had or that you would like to have asked. So does anyone like to come forward and ask anything? Okay. Well, it's been a very insightful hour and a half. I'd like to thank Julian and Toby, firstly, and Gerard for allowing me to host this extraordinary Twitter space. And do be sure to follow Coinllectibles on Twitter and join the Telegram group, and make sure that you have your notifications on, because there's some very exciting things to come. I'm always around as well, so if you do want to follow Simply Dylan, you know what to do for more exciting and upcoming projects, onboarding artists. I'm here for you all. So I'd like to thank you all for your time this evening, especially to Julie and Toby. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dylan.
Yeah, thank you, Dylan, and thank you very much to all the listeners. I thought there's some really fantastic questions there, and really enjoyed the time we've had over the last 90 minutes. Thank you.
Okay, that's it. Thank you, everybody, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Thank you.